Picture this. It is a Saturday, late morning, and you are down on your knees in front of the oven with the door hanging open. You have got a can in your hand, the heavy duty stuff, and you have already read the side of it, so you know the drill. Open a window, wear gloves, do not breathe the spray. There is a little skull and crossbones feeling to the whole thing. Even if they did not bother to print one on there, you hold your breath, you give it a long hiss all across the back wall and the floor of the oven, and that smell hits you anyway. Sharp, chemical, the kind that sits in the back of your throat for the rest of the day. You shut the door, you wait. You will be wiping brown gunk and chemical film out of there for the next half hour. You will run the fan the whole time, and you will still smell it tonight. Now, here's the part that ought to bother you a little. The stuff that actually cuts that baked-on mess off your oven wall costs about $1, and there is a real good chance it is sitting in your cupboard right this minute next to the flour. And that can in your hand, the expensive one with all the warnings, it is doing the exact same bit of kitchen chemistry your great-grandmother did in a kettle out in the yard. She just did not pay $7 and a coughing fit for the privilege. Somewhere along the line, we got talked into renting a clean oven from a spray can. I want to talk you back out of that today. I am Dale. A lot of you already know me. I am usually the fella you call on to help keep the bugs and the critters out of your house. This channel is where I do something a little different. This is where I pass on the things the old man taught me, my grandpa, because just about every practical bone in my body traces straight back to him. And the man never bought a can of oven cleaner in his whole life. He cooked on the same range for better than 50 years, and you could have eaten off the floor of that thing. He did it with a box that cost pocket change and a little bit of patience, and by the end of today, so will you. So stick with me, because I'm going to walk you through cleaning the worst oven you have got. No gloves up to your elbows, no fumes, no holding your breath, for about $1. And stay especially for the part about the foaming volcano, the one everybody loves to film for the internet, because I am going to tell you the honest truth about that. It is the single biggest reason folks try this and decide the old ways do not work. Let me clear up the big misunderstanding first, because if you get this one wrong, nothing else matters. Most folks think the trick is you dump baking soda and vinegar together in a bowl. It foams up like a third-grade science fair volcano, and that foam, that fizzy, bubbling business is the magic that eats the grease. I will be straight with you. That is backwards. Do it that way, and you will get a bowl full of fizz, a wet oven that is still dirty, and you will walk away swearing, this stuff is a waste of time. Here's what is really going on. Baking soda is a base. Vinegar is an acid. They are opposites, chemically speaking, and when you put two opposites like that together, they cancel each other out. The fancy word is neutralization, but you can forget the word. Just picture a tug of war where both sides are pulling exactly as hard as each other. A lot of grunting and straining, and the flag in the middle never moves an inch. That is your foam. The two of them having it out, burping up a bunch of carbon dioxide gas, and when the bubbling finally quits, you know what you are left with? A chemist actually put a name to it. Glorified water, basically salt water. Weaker than either thing was on its own. So the secret is not mixing them. The secret, and this is the whole ball game, is using each one for the one job it is good at and using them in the right order. Baking soda, the base, is your grease eater. The gunk baked onto your oven is greasy and a little acidic, and the base goes after exactly that. Loosens it, breaks it down, and on top of that, the soda is a little gritty, so it works like the gentlest scouring powder there is. That is your heavy lifter. That does 90% of the work. Vinegar, the acid, comes in at the very end and only at the end. Its job is to rinse off the last chalky bit of soda and put a clean shine on the glass. That is it. One, then the other. Never together in a bowl. And none of this is new. Baking soda, bicarbonate of soda, they used to call it saleratus back in the old days, has been a penny item in American kitchens since 1846. Arm and Hammer was packing the stuff out of a fellow's kitchen before the Civil War. So by the time my grandpa was a boy scraping through the hard years, that yellow box was already an old, cheap, trusted thing his mother and his grandmother cleaned with. They did not use it because it was the fashion. They used it because it cost almost nothing, it worked, and there was no fancy spray on the shelf yet to talk them out of it. And I will tell you, this little oven business is just one small corner of a much bigger thing, because the way my grandpa's whole generation ran a house, heating it for next to nothing, eating well on pennies, making their own soap and their own cleaners, fixing the very things we throw away today, that was not a pile of cute old tricks. That was a way of living where a family simply did not need much money to be all right. I gathered all of it, everything the old man knew, and a good deal more into one place, into a book I call the $0 Household Bible. It is not a gimmick, and it is not about pinching pennies for the sake of pinching. It is about the quiet kind of security that comes from knowing your family would be just fine, even if money got tight, because you know how to do it the old way, with your own two hands. If you want it, here is the easy way to get it. Look at the bottom of your screen. You will see a little square sitting there. Go ahead and pause the video right now while it is up. Take out your phone, open the camera like you are about to snap a picture, and just hold it over that little square. A link will pop up at the top of your screen. Tap that and it takes you right to the book. Or if that is more fuss than you care for, just type the address, householdbible.com, straight off the description down below. Whichever one is easier for you, then come right back, because we have got an oven to clean. All right, here is everything you need, and I want you to notice how short the list is. A box of baking soda, about $1, and honestly, the big bag is even cheaper if you do this kind of thing much. Some water, a spray bottle with plain white vinegar in it. A jug of that runs a couple of bucks and lasts about forever. Something to scrape with that is not metal, a silicone spatula, a plastic one, even an old credit card or a plastic gift card does the trick. And some rags or paper towels, gloves if you want them, but here's the thing, you do not need them. That is rather the whole point. You are not handling one single thing that is going to hurt you. Now, step by step, the way the old man did it. First thing, the oven has to be stone cold and empty. We are not turning it on at any point in this, and that is the whole difference between this and the self-clean button, which is a trap we will get to in a minute. Pull the racks out and set them aside. We will deal with those separately at the end. Cold oven, nothing in it. Door open. Next, you make your paste. Tip about half a cup of baking soda into a bowl and add water a spoonful at a time, stirring as you go until you have got a paste about the thickness of pancake batter, or if you want a clearer picture, about like cake frosting. If your oven is a real horror show, the kind where you are not totally sure what color it started out, make it a little thicker and make more of it. Do not overthink this. It is soda and water. Some folks like to put a little squirt of dish soap in there too, and that is perfectly fine. It gives you a touch more muscle on the grease. Grandpa would have just used whatever was on the shelf and not made a project out of it. I still remember being maybe 8 years old, watching him stir up that paste with 2 fingers and asking him why he did not just buy the spray like the man on the television. He gave me that look of his, the one that meant I had said something foolish, but he was going to be kind about it. And he said, "Why would I pay a stranger to do what a dime's worth of soda will do while I sleep?" I did not understand it then. I understand it now. Then you spread it, glove on, bare hand, spatula, however you like, and you smear that paste over everything inside. The floor of the oven, both side walls, the back wall, the ceiling of it, and the inside of the glass door. Get right down into the corners where the grease likes to hide. 2 things you leave alone though, and this matters. Do not slather it on the heating elements, that is, the exposed metal bar across the bottom or the coil. And on a lot of newer ovens, they are tucked up out of sight. But if you can see a heating element, keep the paste off it and keep it out of any open vent or fan opening. Everything else, coat it good. You will watch the paste turn a dingy brown as you rub it in, and that is a good thing. That is the soda already grabbing hold of the grease. And now comes the hardest part of the whole job, which is not hard at all. You walk away, you let it sit. Overnight is best. 8 to 12 hours. And this is where I've got to be honest with you about that word fast in the title, because I am not going to lie to you the way the internet does. The hands-on part of this is fast. 10 minutes, start to finish, smearing that paste around. But the soda needs time to sit there on that baked on mess and do its quiet work. You are trading elbow grease for patience, and that right there is Grandpa's whole philosophy boiled down into one move. You let the cheap things sit and do the working so that you do not have to. While it is parked in there all night, that alkaline soda is breaking down the greasy, burnt, acidic gunk and softening the stuck-on char, so it will let go. If you have just got a light mess, a little splatter, nothing dramatic, then 15 or 20 minutes is plenty. You do not need to wait all night. The overnight business is for the real graveyard ovens. Next morning, grab a damp rag and start wiping it all out. It is going to come off as a dirty brown sludge, and I want you to look at that sludge for a second, because that is your grease leaving the building. For the spots that are really welded on, take that plastic spatula or the old credit card and scrape gently. Now hear me on this. Do not reach for a metal scraper or a steel wool pad on the inside of your oven. That surface is enamel, and metal will scratch the daylights out of it, and you cannot undo that. Plastic, silicone, or wood only. Rinse your rag out a bunch of times, keep at it, and you will see the original surface come back underneath. There is a real satisfaction in that, watching it turn from brown to clean under your own hand. And now, finally, the vinegar. This is where the other half of that title comes true, just not the way the folks on the internet do it. Take your spray bottle of plain white vinegar and mist down the whole inside of the oven. Wherever there is a little soda left, you will see it fizz up a bit, and this is the one and only time in this whole job that the fizzing is actually doing something useful for you. Now it is lifting that last chalky film of soda off the surface, and the acid in the vinegar, and vinegar is mostly water, only about 4 or 5% acid, is cutting any last greasy haze, and it leaves your glass clear instead of all streaky and white. One more wipe with a clean, damp rag, and the inside of that oven is done. Now the racks, because we did not forget about those. The best thing you can do with greasy oven racks is let the water do the scrubbing for you. Lay them down in the bathtub. Put an old towel down first so you do not scratch up your tub, or use a big plastic tub if you have got one. Run it hot, squirt in some dish soap, and shake a good bit of baking soda in there too. Lay the racks in and let them soak. A couple of hours for normal grime overnight if they are nasty. Some folks swear by tossing a dryer sheet in the water, and I will not promise you that is the magic, but the soak itself surely is. Then you wipe them down and the gunk slides right off. Grandpa soaked everything. He used to say, if you give it the night, the water does the work, and he was right about that. He was right about most things. Let me be honest about the limits too, because I would rather you know going in on pure baked on carbon, that black, shiny, welded on stuff that has been sitting there a year. The soda and the patience will get you most of the way, but you might have one stubborn patch left. That is when you do a second overnight coat right on that one spot, or hit it with a little extra dry soda for grit and a soft scrub. It is not magic. It is chemistry plus time, but it will get there, and it will get there without a single fume. And here's the limit that matters most, so I am going to say it twice in this video. The thing the internet keeps selling you, that you mix the two together in a bowl and pour the foaming potion in, and the grease just melts away. That is the part that does not work. That is the part that makes people quit. Soda first, then thyme, then vinegar last. That is the order. That order is the whole secret. One more word on making this work for your particular setup. If you have got a gas oven, same exact method, just be a little mindful around the flame area and the igniter, and do not go soaking those. Electric, same thing. Mind the elements, glass top range up above, or those cast iron stove grates. Same pace does the job, and the grates can go right into the soak with the oven racks. The glass on the door, the outer pane, cleans up easy with all this. If you have got grime down between the two panes of glass, I will be straight. That is a whole different job for another day. And the real secret Grandpa knew, the one that means you almost never have to do this big overnight clean at all, is that you do not let it build up in the first place. A spill happens, the oven cools, you give it a quick wipe with a little soda right then and there. 2 minutes. Do that, and you will never again be down on your knees with a can of poison wondering where it all went wrong. Now, the old man would box my ears if I let you go without telling you one or two more things, because he never had a different bottle for every job. He had baking soda, he had vinegar, he had a box of salt, a bar of soap he made himself, and a rag. 5 cheap things, and that ran the entire house. So here's an even older one than the soda for when you have got a fresh spill, a pie bubbling over, something dripping while the oven is still hot. Grab the salt, just plain table salt. Throw a good handful right on the spill while it is still hot and wet. What that does is keep the spill from baking itself into a hard black crust, and it dries it out so that once the oven cools, it wipes right up instead of becoming next year's problem. That is the oldest trick in the book, older than that yellow box, and it costs you a few cents. Here is another gentler than anything for an oven that just needs freshening rather than a deep clean. Put a bowl of water in there with a good slug of vinegar in it, or a couple of lemons cut in half, and warm the oven up just a little, then shut it off. The steam loosens the grime, so it wipes away easy. And if you went with the lemons, the whole kitchen ends up smelling like a clean Sunday morning instead of like chemicals. The old man did the lemon one when company was coming. I will never smell warm lemon without thinking of that kitchen. That is the whole spirit of it. Not a product for every problem. A few honest, cheap things and the know-how to point them in the right direction. All right, now I want to slow down because this is the part that actually matters more than any paste or any wipe. Ask yourself a simple question. Where is the money in any of this? Because there is no money, none in a $1 box of baking soda that lasts you half a year. Nobody is getting rich off that box. But there is real money in the can of caustic spray you buy and buy again and buy again, $5, $6, $7 every single time, and you burn through it because you only ever drag it out when the oven is gone to ruin. And there is even more money in this next one, which I want you to really sit with. They came out with a fume-free version. Think that all the way through. They sold you a product, and then they sold you a second product to fix the fact that the first product was trying to take your breath away. That is a beautiful piece of business if you happen to be the one selling it. And then there is the self-cleaning button, the one they put right on the front of a new oven, like it is a gift. Here is what that button actually does. It locks the door and heats the inside of your oven up to somewhere around 900 degrees to burn everything in there down to ash. And that extreme heat is the single most common way people fry their own oven. It blows the thermal fuse or it cooks the control board, and now you are calling a repairman, and that is $200 or $300, sometimes more, if he has got to pull the whole unit out of the wall to get at it. A lot of repair fellows will flat out tell you not to use that button on an oven more than 5 years old. So the free cleaning feature turns out to be the thing most likely to hand you a repair bill. And on top of that, it bakes your whole kitchen for hours, and the fumes coming off that burning gunk are rough on anybody with asthma, and they can flat out kill a pet bird. That is the convenient option. Now, I am not going to stand here and tell you this is some grand conspiracy in a back room, because it is not. And Grandpa hated that kind of talk. The truth is simpler and honestly a little sadder. Baking soda was never hidden from you. It is sitting right there on the bottom shelf for $1, been there since 1846. It just got outshouted. Nobody is going to buy a billboard or run a slick commercial for the dollar box because there is no profit in a dollar box to pay for the billboard. Somewhere back in the 1950s, we all swallowed the idea that real clean has to come out of a bottle with a brand name on it, and the plain cheap thing your great-grandmother trusted got shoved to the bottom shelf and right out of the conversation. It did not stop working. It just stopped being worth anybody's money to remind you about it. And you want to hear the kicker? You want to know what that pricey caustic spray is actually doing inside your oven? It is using lye to turn the baked on grease into soap so it slides off. That is the whole miracle in the can. And my grandpa made soap that exact same way. Fat and lye, the lye leached right out of his own wood ashes, cooked up in a kettle. There is even a name for that reaction, saponification. The big chemical miracle they sell you in a pressurized can was the old man's ordinary Tuesday chore. They just put it in a can, printed a warning on the side of it, and started renting it back to you by the bottle. Here is what I have come to understand, watching that man my whole life and then losing him. What Grandpa really had was not a cupboard full of products. It was understanding. He knew exactly what his cleaners were and what they did because he had made them with his own two hands. He was never once at the mercy of a label or a brand or a price tag because he understood the thing itself. And somewhere along the way, most of us traded that understanding for convenience and a monthly receipt. We do not know what is in the bottle or how it works. We just know what it costs and we keep buying it. So when you clean that oven for $1 this week, understand that you are not just saving yourself the $6 or $7. You are taking back a little piece of knowing how your own house works. And that is the one thing they can never sell you and never take away once you have got hold of it. Grandpa used to say the world will always be glad to sell you the cure for a problem you never knew you had until they told you that you had it. The more of these old, simple things you can do for yourself, the fewer of those problems you will ever have to buy your way out of. So here's what I want you to do this week. Nice and simple. Cold oven, completely empty, racks pulled out, half a cup of baking soda in a bowl, a little water stirred in until it is a paste about like frosting. Smear that paste over the whole inside, floor, walls, ceiling, the inside of the glass, and keep it off the heating elements. Then you walk away and let it sit overnight. In the morning, wipe it all out with a damp rag and scrape the stubborn spots with a plastic spatula or an old card, never metal. Then you mist the whole inside with plain white vinegar. Let it fizz the last of the soda loose and give it one final wipe. Your racks go in the bathtub on a towel with hot water, dish soap, and a shake of soda. And they soak while all this is going on. Add it all up. Total costs about $1, maybe $2 if you count the splash of vinegar. Total hands-on time, 10 or 15 minutes split across 2 days. And the soda does the sitting around part for you. No gloves up to your elbows, no fumes in the back of your throat, no holding your breath, no blown fuse, no repair bill, and nothing in that room your kid or your dog or your bird should not be standing right next to. And then tomorrow morning, you open that door and it is clean. Really clean. The glass clear again, the floor of it back to almost like new, and you did not poison the air to get there, and you did not risk $300 of damage. It cost you about $1 and a good night's sleep while it did its work. That right there, that quiet handled feeling, that is what the old man was after every single day of his life. Not fancy, just done by your own hand with no one taking a dime off you they did not earn. And listen, if this little oven trick got you thinking, all right, what else have I been overpaying for that I could just do myself? Then I will tell you plainly that question right there is the whole reason I put that book together, the $0 Household Bible. Same easy way as before. Point your phone's camera at the little square on your screen and tap the link that pops up, or just type householdbible.com from the description down below, whichever is easier for you. Now do me a favor and tell me something in the comments. What did your grandma or your grandpa clean the oven with? Was it baking soda like mine? Was it salt? Was it just a rag and a kettle of hot water and a little stubbornness? Was it something I have never even heard of? And tell me where they came up, what part of the country, what part of the world. I read every single one of these, and those stories right there are the whole reason I keep doing this. Go ahead and subscribe so you do not miss the next one, because next time we are going after the thing I think everybody hates even more than the oven. That burnt, blackened bottom of a pot. The scorched pan you have just about given up on and shoved to the back of the cupboard. And here is the part that is going to get you. Grandpa never once stood at that sink scrubbing a burnt pot till his arm gave out. He did one thing the night before, and the next morning it about wiped itself clean. I will show you exactly what it was. That is the old man's oven trick. Go save yourself the $7 and the coughing fit, and I will see you next time.